I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red...
What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch the fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Good morning, Jim White, Brother Dave White, Super Dave, and Rick Colin.
Hi, everybody.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning, everybody.
If you are driving around town, walking on the treadmill in the gym, stop what you're doing. Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that one felt good. It must be because Rick's here. He's strong. Before we get into the trucker prayer, I want to give some extra prayers for our guest Rick Colin and his family. They suffered a family loss last week, and then also Ray Davis. He is pretty ill this week and hoping he has a speedy recovery. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to go out and do some trucking today. We pray for the safety of our fleet, all of their families, and all the other families and individuals we come across on the road today. We pray for the patience so they're making a good, safe decisions. We pray to be accident-free and that we all make it back to the comfort of our homes this evening. We pray for healing and 100% recovery for all of our family members that are ill. No matter what, we trust you, God. It's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
As a reminder, anything you hear on today's podcast is not the opinion of JFW's. It's just the men in this room's expressed opinion. Episode 144 had 330 downloads. We are at 79.2 thousand total downloads, and we are at 617 followers.
Awesome.
Yeah, not bad. You guys know why ants never get sick? Like little ants?
They get squashed before they're old.
No. Any other?
No, I can't talk that one.
Any other good guesses? It's because of their little antibodies. That was from Mike Cisneros.
That's good. That's a cute one.
Yeah.
Go with the Daves.
Oh, I don't know.
You've been
if
laughing all morning looking
I
at
should lead off on these.
Oh, yeah.
So, everybody loves a good poop joke, right? What's the quickest way to get in touch with your inner self?
Apparently poop somehow.
Single-ply toilet paper. Wow. All right, here's another good one. So, everybody's watched Star Trek, right? You know, you've never seen the bathroom, have you?
Nope.
No. So, in Star Trek, what did the toilet in the Enterprise have inside it?
Don't know.
Klingon.
Oh,
Good
there you
guess, Jim. Really good guess. The captain's log.
go. Wow.
That was a good one, Dave. The captain's log. Oh, man. That's a classic.
I told you, everybody loves a good poop joke.
Yeah, you have to know Star Trek, though. You know what I mean? Or I'm sorry, Star Trek. Yeah.
You got it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a good. Are you ending on that one?
I'm done.
That's a good one.
Oh.
That's a good one.
All right, so does anybody know who the coolest guy in the hospital is?
The surgeon.
The ultrasound guy? But who takes over for him when he's on holiday or on vacation?
I don't know.
the hip replacement guy.
PD, what do you got?
I've got 5 question jokes here, which I bet you guys can only answer 2 of. The first one, how much does it cost to swim with sharks?
Nothing.
An arm and a leg.
Oh.
Second one, what did one toilet say to the other? Man, I'm on a roll.
You look flushed.
Oh, Jim, did you look?
No.
Yeah.
Was that it?
That was it.
Oh.
You appear to be a bit flushed.
Oh.
All right. Why are most people tired on April 1st?
Because it's a foolish day, a fool day.
They just finished a 31-day march.
Oh, man.
This one you guys will all get. It's an old one. How do you make a tissue dance?
Put a little boogie in it.
There you go. Why did the rabbit go to the salon?
It's hair day.
Yep. Yep, he was having a bad hair day.
Mm.
I was 2 out of 5. I was close.
Yeah.
Rick, I didn't expect you to bring a joke today, but if you got one, you can tell it.
I didn't.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't
That's
do it.
totally okay. New employees this week, we got Sarah Murphy, Osvaldo Lopez, Mario Duran, Uriel Salas, and Joshua Sanchez. Welcome to the fleet, everybody.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Speaking of Sarah Murphy, so her boyfriend Lance Nix, he started a week, probably advance, just a week ahead of her, right, Super Dave?
I think a little bit more than that.
Week and a half,
Yeah.
maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, he started driving and she came on board. Well, he was in a rear end accident the other day, and he had to go to the doctor and ended up going to the emergency room to get a CAT scan, and he's okay, everybody, but he was unable to work yesterday. But Sarah must have took care of him really well the day before, because he recruited JR and I to go over to Yard 23 yesterday because he wanted to interrupt the training over there and didn't want to get in trouble. And he brought her 5 dozen roses for taking care of him. after that
That's
accident.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, we pulled up. I had the strobe light on a Ram.
Like a 5-gallon bucket full of roses. Yeah. I got to jump in here, Jam. You missed Chris Perez.
Chris Perez, of course. Welcome to the fleet,
Yeah,
Chris.
started on Monday.
Great.
So
Sorry about that.
Guys.
Good job, Soup. Celebrations. Welcome to the world, Laura Luna Nahara. She was born on 8/11 at 10:40 a.m. She was 21 inches and 7.3 pounds. So that is Paco and Ashley, Lauren Nahara's baby girl. That's their first girl. So pretty excited for them.
Congratulations.
Yep.
So happy birthday.
So
Right?
happy.
Yes,
we
definitely.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, literally your birthday.
Right? Happy birthday. Yeah.
It's cool that kids come out, they have stats right away.
Trading cards. Any trading cards?
Yeah.
What's your stats?
I was 7'3" and 21 inches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing you get. You're measured the minute, the day you're born.
Wow.
That's
You know what I mean?
The
Measured
judge.
as a human being. What? And
Where do
then
you
measure the rest of your life.
where do you measure up?
Right?
Well, it's really bad because you're also fingerprinted or printed. Your very first
right.
day.
Get your footprint. Yeah.
Right, you're printed. So
Wow.
yeah.
Thank goodness there was no visit to the
Yeah.
Gray Bar Hotel.
Probably in 50 years from now, you'll be getting a computer chip behind your ear, too.
Yeah.
No
That wouldn't be
doubt.
bad, Dave. You know why? We'd find those guys that stole the service truck.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Right? But that's another story.
We could add that into the discussion.
Yeah, that's kind of what's next because it's what's next.
Well, what just happened?
Chipping.
Anniversaries. We got Alex Torres in the Wash Bay. He hit 1 year. And Marco Gutierrez in the shop. He hit 2 years this week. So happy anniversary, guys.
Yeah, happy
Yeah,
anniversary.
happy anniversary.
Marco's
Definitely.
still out with a broke arm.
He was here.
Was he? Okay.
He's working.
Yeah, I saw him last night.
Okay.
Yard 23.
Nice. Okay, great.
I saw him over here yesterday.
Oh,
Some-
must have to talk to Joanne, huh?
Or John, or every once in a while those guys come up, maybe to pick the uniforms up
Yeah,
or
something.
something like that.
Yeah. I talked to Mitch, too. He said, I love it over here. I said, you love pulling trucks into the shop, too?
Wow. Wow, low blow.
Yeah, that video was pretty funny because his face was shocked.
Oh,
Literally.
he reenacted it for me, Jim.
He was,
His jaw was on the ground.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, I think that comment was a reach.
Reach.
The dad jokes.
Bada boom.
Birthdays. We got Pedro Sotelo had a birthday this past Sunday, and Carlos Meza has a birthday coming up this Friday. Happy birthday, men.
Happy birthday.
birthday.
Yep, happy birthday.
Family birthday celebrations. We got Kylie Courier. She just had a birthday on Sunday the 11th. We got Riker Carter had a birthday on Monday. And John Marie Wright, that's David Wright's wife, she has a birthday today.
Nice. What a cool name, Riker.
Yeah.
Riker, yeah.
Happy birthday, family.
He got a bunch of birthday love yesterday.
He did, yeah.
Linda kicked that off, and you know how we rally on the company radio.
Oh, very cool.
Yep. I got a message from Damian Rubal. He says, "Good morning, Jam. Would like to give a shout out to the JFW family. Last Friday, my daughter received a gift for her birthday. She really enjoyed it and loved it all, though she was, she received a gift for her birthday. She really enjoyed it and loved it all. Though she was a little upset she didn't see a big red truck deliver it." Also, thank you for the card and the gift card my wife received on her birthday. She really appreciated it and loves how you guys do think about us and our families. Thank you all again. It means a lot to be a part of the family. It's the little things like this that makes JFW stand out and better than everyone else. Everyone have a good day, and thank you all again.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks, Damon.
All the people in the background that, you know, I'm glad we do take the time and try to thank them, but there's so many people in the background that make us run, that, you know, silent warriors, stuff like that. You just never get a thank you. So, you know, shout out. I know it's the next section, but shout out to everybody in the background.
Oh, yeah. Let's see, and this did come from Brent Carter. He says, "Good morning. Riker came running into the living room and said, 'It came, it came,' as he proceeded to show me a card addressed to him from JFW. That was so exciting for him that our company included him and wished him a happy birthday. When he read the card, he read every name and he had the biggest smile. Thank you all so much for bringing joy to our families on their day. The next day, he got an Amazon card and bought an RC car." He says, "Thank you, the JFW family." So, yeah, that's pretty great.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
By the way, Ben, I did send you a picture of you and Riker. I don't know if you checked your email, but I did get a picture of him smiling when everybody was wishing him a happy birthday. We got a screenshot off Samsara. So,
That's awesome.
How old is Riker?
I usually don't put the kids' ages. I don't know why I don't do that.
I guess the only reason I ask is I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, gosh, you know, he took a card and he went shopping on Amazon. I mean, I don't know if I'm going back to like my childhood, right? You had to go somewhere. You had to think of what you wanted. You had to know what you wanted to go shop for it, right? And now you just type it, and you know it's like I looked up some stuff Saturday night that I needed for paint supplies, and I had it before 10 a.m. Sunday morning. It wasn't even worth me going to the store to get it, right? You know, when they can deliver it and have it right there. And I guess, how cool is that?
That is cool.
Right?
I think Riker's probably 10, around there.
Yeah.
12 the most, 8 the youngest, but he's a motocross rider already.
Probably has his own Amazon account.
Maybe. Brent, he'll get a Saturday off, find coverage, so he could take him to the races and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's a little badass. Yeah.
Athletes.
Oh, yeah. And then Andrew Berger, he wants to give Todd Dull a shout out for being the best trainer ever.
Absolutely. He credited Todd with his success here at JFW.
Wow.
So, you know, I feel like I'm doing pretty good here. And I'm like, well, you are for sure. And he goes, that's all because of Todd. Todd was so thorough and didn't miss anything and coached him up throughout his training. So I'd like to give a shout out to Todd.
That's great.
Thanks,
Good job,
Todd.
Yeah, thank you, Todd, for representing.
I don't know. We have a trainer sitting right here in the studio. Do you think Todd's the best trainer? Or?
I would put him right up there with the best of us.
Okay.
That was a good job, Rick. Yeah, wow. That was politically correct. That's awesome, Rick.
That was very diplomatic.
Yes.
Man, I tried to set you up. But we had to send out the burn code. Oh, do you guys have any shout-outs before I move on? Sorry,
I do have a shout out.
Let's go.
With my situation that I'm going through, the support and the love and everything that I've felt since this happened to me and my family. I just want to give a big shout out to all you guys and everybody that matters at JFW, which we all do. It feels like a great big family, and I'm very touched and honored and blessed to be a part of it. And I just want to thank every one of you. Shout out to y'all, and thank you for the support that I'm getting.
Absolutely. Yep. Any other shout outs?
Yeah, I just want to mention, because I think they were going to try to listen. It's coming up on What's Next, but I want to give a shout out to Bernadette, Robert, Erica, and Mary from Envirotech. Mm-hmm. We met with them this week here and told them about the podcast, and I think they're going to be new listeners. And
great.
And we have some exciting news coming up in the podcast here that we'll talk about. But yeah, shout out to them and welcome as listeners. So hopefully they're listening.
Yeah, don't forget to smash that follow button too.
Yep, absolutely, smash it. Yep. And then just wanted to throw out. Dave mentioned it, but our service truck was stolen. Last night, the night before. But little shout out to Mikey. And John. Mikey's working with the police up at whatever midnight. Didn't get done till 3:30 in the morning. Back here, yesterday morning in a little bit late, but helped him track it on Samsara, and then got the truck towed, got it back here, got a wheel for it, and just a shout out for Mikey and everything he does. He's a team player, and you don't have to. He didn't have to show up. He could have just told the police it's over here on 104th and called it good, but he didn't do that. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, he actually went to find the truck. He showed up at the same time as the cops.
Yeah. When we say he met the police, literally there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Mikey was the one that threw the spike strips out.
I was going to tease him at lunch that if I think he really wanted to do like a pit maneuver. He wanted to take the truck out. He was after that, but he got sideways with the cops, and
that would give all new meaning to Ford versus Chevy.
Yeah, seeing that service truck in the wash bay with the tires, off of it, riding on the rims. I mean, It looked like a scene straight out of Cops, where they threw the spike strips, and it looks like they rode on the rims for a little bit, and unfortunately they bailed out and got away. So we do have some surveillance footage of our truck at another place of business, and we have some bodies that we could look at, not dead bodies, but the people that stole the truck.
Yeah.
It's not very clear, but who knows? Yeah. Maybe they'll come.
If you're listening, Jam, and I think you should be nervous because you're going to get caught. We got enough information that they're going to get caught.
Yeah, they took some evidence from the cab of the truck too. So
yeah, I think I would be.
You could just.
I'd be watching your back because somebody's going to come knocking.
If you want to turn yourselves in, just email me.
Yep.
That would be jam@jfwtrucking.com.
I stole the service truck. I'm sorry.
Yep. We'll give you a little bit of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what was the other company's name that they broke into?
Ground Services Landscaping.
Okay, Ground Services. I thought it was Ground Solutions. But
I think Ground Services.
Yeah. But kind of. Yeah. Anyway, we got some good evidence, and whoever's involved, I'd be a little worried. Not going to get away with it.
Yeah, that was kind of a funny call from them too, because they called and Linda answered the phone here, and they're like, "Did you have a truck stolen last night?" And Linda was like, "Yeah." How do you know? And they're like, "Well, they came over here and broke into our yard in your truck." And I thought that was very nice of them.
Yes, not to accuse us.
Yes, right? Not to go, "Hey, you guys had somebody in one of your trucks to break into our yard." Then Linda would have covered it and been like, "Well, it was stolen last night. Blah 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 blah." But
what was funny is Linda didn't know the truck was in the wash bay. She thought it was still
MIA.
Yeah. But the lady that called, Eva, she was very nice. Not super computer savvy because she was trying to send me the videos, couldn't do it. So I went over there and I video recorded on my phone the videos.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and then I tried to send them to police, but he couldn't use the link. So we're still working on getting the evidence to them. So they're probably going to go over there today.
Yeah,
get the actual videos.
What's cool is Ground Services contacted us
And we were able to provide going to provide the police all of that evidence where they could have just called the police and it would have been two separate incidences.
Right.
No one would have known it was tied together because our service truck left here and drove straight there.
Right.
It went straight to that gate.
Yeah.
It was a plan. 2 people were in it. Another car met them. 3 people were in it.
Yeah, the driver of the other car.
Yeah, I mean, it was a plan.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the reason we'll catch them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I figured they worked here and then they worked there.
Yep.
Yeah.
One worked here and then one worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she fired 3 people recently. I was like, what's their names? And none of them matched, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll come out, and
Oh, yeah.
we'll prosecute to the fullest.
Always do.
Yep.
You know what I hear? Guilty.
Any other shout outs, guys?
I'm good.
Good?
I mean, I have a shout out, but I got to save it for what's next. Right?
Okay.
So,
If it doesn't bother you. Otherwise, we could do it right now.
I mean, shout out. I attended the Douglas County hearing last night for Brandon. They've been trying for 6 years now, if you can believe that.
I gotta interrupt you, Dave. Though, sorry. It wasn't. You didn't attend it last night. You started in the afternoon,
Well, yeah.
and then it went all night. And that's how those
meetings go.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was.
And I shouldn't. I not only attended, but I also testified on Brandon's behalf as a pro Brandon business.
Can I get a witness?
Person? Yeah, exactly, Jim. And it started at 2:30, and we didn't get done until 10:30 last night because they had 30 people speak against them. But they also probably had a good 25 or 30 people speak for them on their behalf. Employees, people like us here at JFW and whatnot, to try and get their plant approved at Sedalia, their asphalt plant. And they started this 6 years ago, but they've been hot and heavy on it since 2021. So for the last 3 years, they've had an attorney hired. They've been working with Douglas County intently, and it boils down to just fighting the homeowners there in Levere's behind them. And they're over a half a mile away. And, I understand it. I have compassion for the people and their concerns. I wish they were a little more educated on some of the stuff, but we can get into that a little bit later. The bottom line is it passed a 2-1 vote. And shout out to Brandon. You guys worked hard. I can't imagine how much money was spent just getting it approved. I mean, paying for the plant and development and all that is a whole other fiscal issue, but just to get here, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and I know the money that they invest pushes that, but talk about staying vigilant and true to themselves. And I know you were there, but you told me this morning that they made some more concessions in the last minutes of the vote. And it still didn't make the one commissioner happy, but all the stuff they've done to make their external customers happy, basically, is a lot. And that's great to be associated with a company like that.
Yeah, they're going to build a world-class facility there. Yep. Bottom line, they have to. They're going to be held accountable.
Right.
So
it's going to be state of the art.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to Brandon. Congratulations, Kurt, Fred, Theron. I know how hard all you guys worked. Jessica Elizade, their attorney, how hard they worked. Alex Schatz, all the people on that team. I mean, it just goes on and on. Garrett Olson, there's so many people behind the scenes that were there that I've never even met. I don't know their name. I recognize them if I see them at La Pan, but they're just somebody you recognize or see, not knowing them personally. So shout out to Brandon. It's super exciting. They're talking May of 25, firing up.
It's around the corner.
Yep, absolutely.
Good stuff. All right. Yesterday we sent a Paycom announcement out that we sent out one time before. It is about the Burnco staging area. When everyone goes down to Burnco, they want you to stage on the street, not inside the plant. So if you're not sure, ask before you go down there. You could also reference your Paycom announcement, and it'll tell you what to do right in there.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, I think it's all about what the at a hill, it's slanted, it's soft, at the weight we're carrying, there's all these things that contribute to it not just being a good idea to stage right there.
Right. Yeah, I think they've actually had, not one of our trucks, a different truck actually slid,
That's what I understand.
It's like a uneven shelf road, basically.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. And then one thing we've been noticing is you need to check behind your drip trays, especially if you're loading up at like Young's Ranch. When the loaders load you, a lot of times material falls on the opposite side of the trailer or even on that side, and it will just get stuck behind the drip tray.
What's a drip tray?
Drip tray is what we use when we load cores because the cores grain is so wet.
Where is it?
It'll be on the passenger side of your fender on your trailer.
Ah, that's what that is.
Yep. So, just check behind there because if you're going down the road and rocks vibrate loose, you're going to break a windshield.
Yeah.
So,
Not a good look, right?
not a good look. You can't see it though. That's the
Right.
thing. You got to stick your hand behind there or get up on your tippy toes and
Right.
look.
I envision a little rubber flap, super thin little rubber flap across that. But
Yeah.
envisioning it and doing it are two different things.
Yep. Or, honestly, if you don't do cores, I would take it off. Nothing would ever get stuck behind there. Don't do that, though, because then we'll lose the drip tray.
Well, then we'll have a stack of them, won't we?
Yeah, and you'll be called to do course.
Right, exactly.
Or somebody will trade a trailer, and then you'll be having to do cool.
Yeah, I don't have
Just
to.
there.
Disregard my amazing
Well, you
idea.
said not to do it afterwards, John. You covered yourself, but yeah.
Too late.
Yep. Coming out of Young's Ranch, there are some cameras, and with the cameras, there's signage that says speed is strictly enforced. I didn't know about that. So I don't know if they're radar cameras or what's going on, but we need to creep on out of there anyway. We don't want to take off too quick coming out of there.
Yeah, I hope somebody can verify it, guys. And I've been in discussion, but it says, strictly enforced, but I don't think the speed limit is posted. And we learned it was 15. Am I making that up?
It's
I believe-
12.
12 miles
That's
an
in
hour.
the
12
pit.
miles an hour. And
That's in the.
going in, and then I assume it's throughout the whole thing because there's not another one until you leave.
Okay, is it posted though?
It's posted on the bridge. As
Okay,
you
on
go
the
in
bridge.
at 12
Okay.
miles an hour.
Okay.
And that it's just recently been put up.
Okay, so it wasn't when we started.
It wasn't when we started. It is there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
So I can
Yeah.
be an eyewitness to that.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, there you go. You guys know there is signage saying it's 12 miles an hour.
There's a posted speed limit.
So the cameras, when I was up there, they had one of the security trailers with a camera on it. Is that the camera we're talking about?
There's cameras all over the place up there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's signs with cameras on it. Yeah,
Huh.
it's highly regulated up there. It's a small little place, and I think they know it's a little tight, so they want to really watch what's going
Yeah.
on up there.
It has to be done right.
Yeah, it's not hard though. Once you get used to anything, it's pretty easy maneuver. Once you figure out how to go about it, it's not difficult.
What an odd speed limit, though.
12?
Yeah.
12, not 10, not 15.
Listen, 10, we know that's slow, but 15's too fast. So,
12 sounds great.
yeah. Why not 13, though? If we would,
Yeah. I think maybe with the cameras and stuff, though, there has to be a little bit of the public being a little curious on the weekends and different stuff like that.
Yeah,
maybe,
what's going on up here?
maybe some security too.
It's not the same size as a regular speed limit sign either. It's half the size. It's about that big. It looks the same, but it's not the same.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very-
Easy to be missed, Rick. Really, the size of it?
No,
No?
it's right there. You can't miss it.
They posted it in a good place, huh?
Oh yeah, you
Okay.
can see it.
Okay.
As you go in, it's right there.
Yeah, because that was the controversy start. It wasn't posted, but I'm glad to see
If
it.
you miss it, you're not paying attention, and if you're not paying attention, you're not doing your job right.
Well,
So
there you go. Right out of Rick's mouth. Let's see.
That's the reason he's a number one trainer.
Yeah, right ahead of Todd Dahl.
I hear challenge, Todd.
I'm just teasing. Todd's a great trainer. He's also an amazing person. Like
He is,
Todd's just a good dude. He's very solid.
he's a great guy.
He's consistent, but
Soft-spoken.
Rick's just a little bit better. That's all. If you guys can make sure your time off has been submitted correctly and approved. So one thing I've been running into is somebody be like, oh, I put that in Paycom. Well, you may have thought you put it in Paycom, but as much as I dislike Paycom, Paycom doesn't lie about whether a time off was submitted or not. If you could honestly believe you did it, but if you didn't do it correctly and it wasn't submitted, there's no record that you requested that time off, right? And then once you request it, that doesn't mean it's been approved either. You did do your part and you requested it. Typically, I won't deny time off without, not even typically, every time. If I was to deny time off, I'm going to call the driver and explain why. I'll never just deny it and not call you and tell you, like, you can't have it, right? But you want to check in Paycom to make sure it was approved, because that'll make sure you submitted it correctly. And the way you do that is you go to your Paycom, go to time off requests, go to request time off, and then your calendar will pop up, and on the top of the calendar there's a bar. You could slide it to the left and you'll see manage time off. When you get there, you'll see all your time off that's been submitted and whether or not it's been approved yet. So that'll just be helpful.
Perfect.
All right, let's get into the short haul exception. There's been a little bit of miscommunication, controversy. I don't know how you want to explain it, but my understanding is when you are under the short haul exception and you're driving locally, we're not running ELDs, you do not need to keep track of how many hours you drive. That's my understanding. Right from the FMCSA website, a driver is exempt from the requirements of 395.8 and 395.11 if the driver operates within 150 air mile radius of normal work reporting location and the driver does not exceed a maximum duty period of 14 hours. Drivers using the short haul exception in 395.1E1 must report and return to the normal work reporting location with 14 consecutive hours and stay within 150 air mile radius of work reporting location. The only other thing I could add to that is you have to have 10 hours off in between. You have to have a 10-hour reset, and then you could be on the short haul exception. Nowhere do I see anything, and I spent some time looking yesterday, nowhere do I see anything that says you can only drive 11 hours. So I would love to get some input from you guys, if anybody has anything on that.
Yeah, I was hit with the question this morning, Jam, about it, and knew nothing about it at the time, didn't even know there was a problem, and then, or not a problem, but a concern about it. I briefly looked after having a phone call, and there is the 11 hours mentioned through all of that, but I do remember when we talked to Janelle, when we were last audited for the hours of going out of town, the thing is on this short haul, we have to report the 14 hours. That's what we're reporting is the stop and start. The thing is we're not tracking the loads. So if even if there was an 11 hour, or they're looking at the 11 hours, in my interpretation, you can take off loading at Coors, you can take off dumping, you can take off this, and then that builds your hours. You just have to be back to the place within 14 hours that you were reporting. That's the short haul. That's what's helping, the delivery people, all that kind of stuff. That's the reason all that was extended to 150 air miles, all that kind of stuff.
And 14 hours. It used to be 100 miles, 12 hours.
Correct.
They changed it in 2020.
Pretty recently,
yeah.
To 14 and 150. The point, I guess, that was to get away from people using their logbooks and tracking their hours.
Exactly. They're not concerned about the hours.
Right.
As a company, we can even report the driver's hours. That's what we're doing with Paycom.
Right.
When they come in here and audit, we show them the driver's hours. That's the reason we're having you guys log in. But when they come to us, we'll go, here's the report of the driver's hours. There's nobody that's running under the short haul exemption that's over 14 hours.
Right.
That's all they'll look at. And that the last time we were audited, that's all they looked at. Now there's a problem if you're out of state, if you're on your ELD and you're running over 11 hours and all that. Because I don't know if you read a little farther and briefly going through it this morning, Jam, there's also a 16-hour one. and you can do that like once a week.
Once a week, yeah. If you
That's
get-
on your ELD.
No, this is also for the short haul
Oh,
day.
is it?
Yeah, extends it to 16 hours.
Yeah.
Because my point is, if you had to keep track of your 11-hour drive time, wouldn't you have to fill out
A
an
logbook.
ELD anyway?
A logbook or ELD.
I mean,
And the state patrol I stopped with, Dave, and you guys have all done it long enough. You'd go load, getting loaded, back on the street, loaded. I'm
Oh,
dumped,
yeah.
back up.
Right.
You know, it would look, and that's, you know, state patrol looked right at me and go, we don't want to see that. That's not what this is for. You know, it is the 14-hour. It's to help the people in the city that you report home and you report to your own bed.
Yeah.
I mean, they mention that you report to your workstation and then you go to your home.
Right.
I mean, it's written in there that way.
Huh.
So, yeah.
It's a 14-hour work day.
Yeah.
And it's the same as ELD. That's a 14-hour work day. You get 14 hours. 11 of it has to be, driving. And it can't be more than 11 unless you get the extended. But I think that's where the confusion comes in. It's a 14-hour work day, same as ELD or short haul exemption,
Right. So you said it's a 14-hour day, but you also said you can't drive more than 11 hours. That's what we're.
But in the short haul, you can.
In the short haul, you're exempt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're exempt
It
from
exempts
that.
you from.
Right.
Short haul exemption.
Right. Exactly.
And that's
What's
why,
it exempting? I don't know.
well, and it's meant to include these guys that are like delivering food, and they drive
Right.
50 miles in a day, and they're unloading for 10 hours during that day.
Cisco or something
Yeah.
like that. Also, I think the concrete industry, ready-mix trucks,
Absolutely.
that are making 6-7 deliveries a day, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's as a company, that's the way we interpret it.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you have a different thing, that's going to be up to you.
Interpreted is an interesting word, Jim, because after our audit with Janelle from the FMCA, the federal motor carriers, that's how she explained it.
Yes.
Sure.
And might I add, her office is in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Because they just want the start and stop.
Yep, pretty much black and white.
Yes.
You can't interpret it any other way.
Yes.
It's 14 hours. That's it.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Too easy.
You guys got anything for the discussion before we move on to Rick Colin? No?
No, I guess maybe I do, Jim, just going through this and then talking about Envirotech that we're going to lead into the Brandon being approved about the asphalt plant and stuff like that. We're talking about Young Ranch. We're hauling up there in different locations. And I just want to mention about making sure you clean your truck out and your trailer out, or your truck out, but clean your trailer out. And we're just gonna, the work we have, we're going to switch more materials and more materials. Super dumps are doing asphalt. They're going to be required to haul some regular materials. We're going to be moving salt. We're going to be doing all that. And as far as I'm going to call it a safety issue. But we have to clean the trailers out. We have to make sure we're not contaminating loads, and we continue to build a customer base. And when we met with Envirotech, we told them in the meeting that all we have to offer, and I think we've said it on the podcast, is a service. We don't have like the most fabulous T-shirt in the world that even if we have shitty service, but you get this fabulous T-shirt. We don't have that. All we have is the service of being on time, being polite, the load's not contaminated, delivering what you ask for, going over and above if you do need something on the job site.
Doing our very best.
Yeah, doing our very best. That's what a service is all about, and that's all we have to offer. And that's what we told Envirotech, and they even have a new system, and I think they just emailed it over to us, Dave. But we're going to be graded on a point system. And Dave asked him, like,
a report card.
A report card. Dave's like, well, what's on the report card? What are we being graded on? And they're like, that's a good question. There's 5 things, but it's new to us, and we'll send it to you. And I guess that's.
It was interesting. All the carriers they've met with, no one asked.
Oh, wow.
Like, how are we supposed to be better than anyone when we don't know what we're being graded on?
Right.
We need to know what we're being graded on.
Sure.
Yeah. But I think there's a goal.
Yeah.
It gives you something to work on.
Challenge accepted.
Yep. Yes, and that's what we told them. So yeah, I think through that the safety stuff and doing your job, back to doing your job.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It is as simple as doing your job.
It really is.
It just is. You know, when you call in at the end of the day and said, "Hey, signed out, cleaned out here at Plant 12, headed in," I truly hope that was what happened.
Right. I hope you called dispatch first to make sure we didn't unload too.
Because you hear that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I just hope that's what happened.
Yeah.
I truly am. I know I'm signed out. We all know that pretty well. That's the other thing. Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it in what's next, right, Jim? On
Yeah,
the care,
we have so much.
Yeah, their tickets are
Yeah.
incredibly.
Yeah.
But we need to be clean.
Yeah.
That's the importance of what Jim's getting at. We have to be clean.
That's
That
just
trailer
like doing your
has to be
poster.
cleaned out. Yeah.
You're cleaning out so you're ready to go, and you're not going to have problems in the morning.
Right.
That's how we make money.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we keep saying we're going to talk about it here, but the post-trip and the pre-trip is going to start to be very important on what we start to do here for Envirotech. I mean, it's going to be whether you finish the day or you don't. And so that's something everybody's going to have to learn to do and be really good at it.
I don't know. I just not doing it the right way would give me anxiety. I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? Like none of us are perfect, but knowing you should sweep out and not getting in your trailer to do it, that would stress me out. It's just easier to sweep it out and know that you've done your job. Not doing a post trip or a pre trip. Like I'd rather just know that the truck's good.
Yeah, Jam. I mean, I've changed materials and loaded and then got to the job, especially like we used to do golf sand or a lot of golf sand and stuff, and you're like, man, I should have swept out, or I forgot to sweep out, or I was busy. When I dump that next load, I don't slam the trailer at the top of the ram. I don't bang the tailgate. I pull off the plow really easily, hoping that whatever was in the load just kind of stays there, and I go and sweep out. But that's because I'm nervous. I screwed up, and you just don't hit the top of the trailer with the ram and shake everything out from underneath your liner and your tarp. And
been there, done that.
Right, Dave? I mean, you just there's lots of things not to get around it, but to help you do your job better.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rick Colin is in the studio today. Rick Colin had a very unfortunate tragedy happen to his family last week, and he wanted to come on and tell his story. It's all very fresh. Rick did ask me that before he gets started that we mention that anything he says against this other big truck driver who caused the tragedy is alleged. He didn't want to defame his name or give the guy a bad rap when he hasn't been convicted of anything yet. However, I mean, the evidence, we've all seen the video. So, but Rick, we do appreciate you coming on, and it takes a lot of guts to be here today to discuss this, but I'm gonna let you tell your story. I don't have a bunch of questions written down. I'm sure we will have some as you go, and the floor is yours, Rick.
Well, thank you for letting me come on and be here to tell my story. And like my conversation with Brother Jim and Brother Dave, the reason is because I feel it's very important that we understand we've had the Safety Has No Blind Spot campaign going for quite some time. And this tragedy is directly is directly involved in that, is exactly what happened. In my opinion, this is what happened. And there was, my mom and sister were traveling, through Missouri, and they were eastbound, and there was a westbound semi-trailer coming the other way. And, all appearances is that this man that was driving the semi turned on his right blinker. He didn't wait the 5 seconds, 6 seconds. He immediately changed lanes to his right and did it pretty drastically. It was a pretty abrupt, from what we can, tell that it was an abrupt, and he ended up clipping in him a Mercedes-Benz. That car, he hit him so hard that he did go spinning off the highway. Then, to make matters worse, and that's what affected us, is he corrected and he overcorrected. And when he did, he set up his trailer to the point where it jumped the concrete barrier. And when it did, it came in contact with a bunch of the eastbound cars. I don't know exactly how many, but there was other people who were injured in the accident. My mom and my sister were driving a U-Haul on the eastbound, and it doesn't look like they stopped or even noticed or anything, but basically hit that semi head on. And everybody says, what if it was your family, and what if it was your sister? What if it was your wife? What if it's your brother, sister, anybody, your companion, your friend, another driver that was, in that vehicle when you made that error, and the ramifications that can happen if it is, your family. And I'm a witness to that, and it's basically happened to me, and it's opened my eyes a lot more than they were before. Not that I, wasn't, doing it the right way. I feel like I do it the right way, and that's why I'm here at JFW's, because I choose to do it the right way. Well, my sister and my mom hit head on. The passenger side of the U-Haul took the brunt of the impact, and my mom was squashed in between whatever it was that came into her side of the cab, the pillar, the dash, and was pretty much smashed, and by all accounts was killed instantly. My sister, on the other hand, her area wasn't smashed quite as bad, and her area was at least intact enough. She had the wherewithal to call 911, and the story that we got from an eyewitness was rather harrowing. And I am going to go into detail because I think it's important.
Take your time, Rick.
I think it's important that we know what can happen if we don't follow the rules that are set in front of us. The cab started on fire. The tow truck driver went right up to the window. He's not the tow truck driver for any other reason that he's just a tow truck driver, but his eyewitness account is that my sister called 911. She reached out the window and said, is my mother dead? And he said, yes, I believe she has passed. And she said, I'm her daughter. A fire started in the cab. She began to burn. She burned alive. All her hair was burned off, according to the tow truck driver. And he stayed there with a fire extinguisher, trying to put out the fire as much as he could. And other people, from what I understand, came and tried to put out the fire. But my sister died a tragic death and a very horrible and probably incredibly painful death due to a driver's inability to follow what is a very simple rule that we all are trained and taught to do from day one when we're driving. Put the blinker on, wait a few seconds, check your mirrors, check your blind spot, and then when you do start to go over, go slow. Take your time. Give yourself an out if you still have somebody that you still might not. I've been there. I've done that, and I can attest that I have started going over and realized, hey, there's somebody there, and was able to save it before I came in contact with that car. But if I had just whipped the wheel over and changed lanes immediately, man, the results, it's not just the one car that went spinning off. The semi crossing the median and coming into oncoming traffic was the result of that. And that's my story, and that's what happened. And it's a definite tragedy. I'm heartbroken over the fact that I have, to drive a semi every day, and it's going to be on my mind for quite a while. It's going to take me a little while to get my mind back and be ready to do. I've got to head out to Kansas, Missouri, or wherever it is that we have to go to to identify or not identify, but to look at the van and go through whatever's left in the van and pick up my mom and sister's remains. They have gone through the process of being cremated and are waiting for us to pick them up. But this is my story, and it hits very close and hard at home, to home. And I felt I needed to share it, and just to raise everybody's awareness that, we're not just saying this safety has no blind spot, for no reason or for nothing at all. It's because it's very important. And if you guys would like to, any questions or join in the discussion, I would like to address whatever questions you have for me.
Yep. Rick, thank you for your bravery. I don't know how you're doing it. I mean, man. I think the thing here, and Rick did talk to me and Dave in the beginning of the week, it's he sits there and tells a story, but we talk about the what if, and here's what if in our family. And we really wanted Rick to talk about it because it is fresh on his mind. But you guys, it happens. We talk about it, we preach about it. Rick, in the conversation with me and Dave, said, that he praised us for trying to do the right thing. We praise you guys for trying to do the right thing. But just like he just explained, it can happen at any time. And Rick, I have to bring up, and I will say the words allegedly, and you told us it's in the news, so it's like Jam said, we've heard the facts. But allegedly, the driver did not have a driver's license. He was under suspension. Allegedly, the company that he was driving for had been shut down by the FMCSA, and they were operating. Because of that being shut down, you usually lose your insurance. And as far as Rick knows, allegedly, they do not have any insurance. And these are the operators that are out there, the bad actors, and it's a shame. And we talk about being defendable, but we can be as perfect as we want and still have bad things happen. And thanks, Rick. It just chokes me up that you're having to sit here and go through the pain. But I thank you.
Well, I feel that it's very important to tell a story when it happens. But also, and like you said, Brother Jim, it's very important that we realize how lucky we are to be, involved in a company that is so concentrated on teaching us and having us do things the right way. And I know the cameras, they're a pain in the butt, all of the podcasts you listen to over and over and over again. Maybe you get tired of hearing it, but this company, in my mind, is probably one of the best, if not the best company that you could work for, as far as safety, as far as trucks, as far as stand behind your drivers. They're backing me 100%. They're giving me the time I'm going to need to deal with this situation. And they're welcoming back with open arms, and you just don't get that. You don't get that every day, and I'm honored and I'm blessed and I'm very lucky to be sitting in the position that I'm sitting. To be driving a truck that's top notch, that's taken care of. The brakes are good, the lights are good. And that's why it's so important that we as drivers take to heart what they're preaching, what they're teaching, what they're doing, and do our pre-trip, do our post-trip, clean our trailers out, do the things that they're asking us to do, because it's those little things. It's doing all those little things that mean that we are the best in the business. And it's what keeps us on top of the game. And it's what's going to keep us from having a situation, hopefully, to have to be the ones that are on the other side of this, to have to explain to somebody's loved one or explain to somebody's person who survived this why our truck was involved in such an egregious, heinous act, And I hope that all of that does keep us from that. And that is my sincere hope and prayer, that everything that we do here at JFW is going to keep us safe, sound, and it would kill me to be in that position of that driver or that company or anybody affiliated with something that happened like that, knowing that I'm at fault. This is 100%. I have to pay for this. I've got to be accountable for what happened, and that's avoidable. It's avoidable, and that's what we need to keep stressing is, guys, it's avoidable, and you can help by listening to the podcast. You can help by doing the things that are taught, and if you see something, say something. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I just noticed you turned your blinker on and 3 seconds later you were in that other lane. Did you really check your mirror? Did you really look where you were going? When you're backing, did you make sure that everything was clear? It's going to heighten my awareness and just not that it wasn't very, very heightened to begin with, but I'm going to be very alert, and when I'm driving now, it's a different feeling, And I'm sure it will be for a little while, and then as time passes, I'll be able to, let the feelings pass a little bit. But when you go through something like this, it makes you want to reach out and say, "Don't let this happen to you." Don't let this be something that we are, is responsible for something like that. And I'm gonna do my best to make sure that everybody I know and drive and work with gets that point, and I'm gonna drive that point across even more now than I was before. As a trainer, I'm gonna be a better driver, a better person, a better trainer, a better employee going forward.
And Rick, just so everybody, because you said we could look at it, everybody could look at it. It's on Facebook. But where is it easy to find the video? Because you told me the other day to look it up.
Columbia. Is it Columbia?
I think so. If you just Google
Columbia auto accident.
Well, because there was the one when we tried to look it up. The only reason I'm asking, guys, I don't want to be morbid, is there was the one about the truck losing its tire and having the crash.
That's not the right one.
That's not the right one.
But it does come up first when you just search truck U-Haul.
If you search U-Haul crash.
Truck U-Haul crash.
Yeah, I think I searched Missouri U-Haul crash on I-70.
Yeah. Any one of those will bring up the accident, and you'll know it's the one.
Channel.
You'll know it's the one that we are looking at because the U-Haul has a SUV that was towing behind it, and you can clearly see that vehicle still on the trailer behind the U-Haul, and so you'll know that that's the one. But the box truck coming over the median is a bit, it's a big.
That was mind-boggling.
It's a big truck.
Yeah, and it's horrific, Rick.
It is.
You think that wall would hold that truck and it would bounce off, and it literally jumps it.
Yeah.
I mean, not one of those. No, not one of those people. And you said nobody. There was a lot of people injured, but nobody would expect that truck to be sideways in front of them in seconds.
No, just seconds, mere seconds.
Yeah.
And the reason is because he went to the right and then back to the left. And in my opinion, in my view, and what I see is that set his truck up to be more head on with that wall than it would have been if he just veered over and bounced off the wall. I think it would have been a different
If it was more
thing.
parallel with
it was more parallel. And, I mean, obviously a bunch of things happened for it to, my mom and sister were just exactly at the wrong place at the wrong time. And if it wasn't them, it would have been somebody else, obviously. But, when tragedy happens, you always say, what if? And, the big what if here is, what if those guys were as a little more responsible in their, in their truck driving world,
Yeah, the company and the driver. I guess for the drivers out there, don't drive if you know your license is suspended, or you don't have one. Just don't do it. The same for the company. We can't employ people with no driver's license
or unqualified guys that we don't think are good enough to do the job.
I mean, that's the reason we have you. That's the reason we have Todd. I can't name all the trainers, but that's the reason we have you guys. That's the reason we have Super Dave in the orientation to start. We have JR, we have, Kendrick, we have the other 110 drivers looking out. And we still have stuff happen, Rick. And, I guess I want to drive it home, Rick, and I apologize, but your mom and sister are dead. There's no way around that.
No, there's no coming back from that. We're not hoping that they recover or,
yeah, they're dead.
It's going to get better. Nothing helps this situation. Nothing helps it. Nothing at all.
That's due to a bad company hiring and making a choice to hire someone without a driver, without a license, and allowing that person to drive for them without a license. Right?
And probably, apparently very unqualified,
Sure.
Unqualified.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Rick, go ahead, Jim.
Good.
No, we got silent there for a while. I couldn't talk because I would have teared up, right? I mean, I could sit here and hold my composure, but I couldn't speak. So the courage it takes for you to come on here and speak about this is just incredible, number one. So thank you for that. So many things rolling through my mind, and I'm sitting here, we stare at our creed. We say it at the end of our podcast every week and say, get on out of here. We talk every week about doing the right thing, doing it better. All these things rolling around in my mind. Jam, his comments always freak me out because the one that always gets me, and I don't agree with it, but it's so true. We're always one decision away from ruining our life, or some people are, right? And when I hear it, I'm like, I wouldn't make that decision. I wouldn't do that. If I didn't have my license, I wouldn't drive. I just had to get my DOT physical. I just had to renew my license. It doesn't expire until September. I'm ahead of I've done it. You know what I mean? I'm ahead of the game. I've made those decisions. Versus people that go, I need to renew my DOT medical card. It expires. It expired last week. I didn't know my license expired 30 days ago. You need to be involved. You need to be on your game. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be active. Back to the creed, we sit here and, I always am curious what a guest thinks when they look at our creed and they say, we are accident-free second. Together, we're accident-free second. But I always think in my mind, well, we've proven that to be accident-free, we've had to face and overcome all that stands before us to create being accident-free, And then you stand there, Rick, you're sitting there, you said, those people need to be accountable. Well, we have it right there in our creed. We're accountable for our words and our actions. And we're trying to hire better people that believe in our creed, that say, oh my gosh, I am accountable for my words and my actions. I can face and overcome all that stands before me. I am accident-free. And I'm sitting here saying but our creed states together. And that starts, just like Jim was saying, with Super Dave. First off, he pre-screens that applicant, right? If they don't have a good safety record, they don't even get a call. If they have a good safety record and they fit the criteria that we need for safety, then they get the call. Then they get the 2-hour culture interview or the 1.5 culture interview to find out what type of person they are. And hopefully we get the true person, not their best representative, which we've been, it's been hidden. Sometimes those interviews, we get the best representative and the real person comes out 30 days later.
Yeah, they weed out themselves,
which is unfortunate.
But even as a good driver, the point I'm trying to drive home is, even as a good driver, I consider myself a good driver. I have my faults. I'll admit to them, but admitting to them and realizing that you have faults, you have to stay alert. You have to get a good night's sleep. It doesn't matter how good a driver you are, and you've passed all that criteria and you've done everything that you're saying that we should do. If you go out there and you're lackadaisical for even 1 day or 1 minute or 1 hour or 1 second while you're behind the wheel of that truck, I don't care how good you are. The same thing can happen to a good driver, to a bad driver, to a driver who should never have been in a truck. It doesn't matter. What matters is that every single second that we're in that truck, we have to be held accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable. And no matter how good you are, you have to be that good every second of the day.
You have to be.
You have to stay on top of that game. I hate to say it, but I'm going to be more alert. I'm going to be more on top of my game because of this, That's a bad thing to say. That's a hard thing to say, because why wasn't I more alert before this, just knowing that it could happen? Why does something like this have to happen before you say, I'm going to be more alert now? But that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
I think sometimes people just don't, and this is something I know you've heard before, Rick. We talked about it, and everybody has. They know things happen in the world. They know things exist, but they think, well, that'll never happen to me. And you know what? It just might. You can never say never, ever. Whether it's an accident like you're experiencing, Rick, or a terminal disease, or anything that can happen, will happen, could happen, might happen to you, and don't ever think that it wouldn't, and it's not because you're, anything in the, in the atmosphere or in the cards or in the force or anything like that. These things just happen,
This accident was 100% our blind spot issue.
Absolutely.
We have fought the blind spot accident for as long as I can remember. And we talk about it, and we preach about it, and we do this about it, and we do that about it. We have our blind spot has no safety bracelets. I hope everyone's wearing them. But this accident was a blind spot safety issue. That driver, and again, so many things go into that blind spot. Same thing, Rick, we've been preaching our entire lives working here. When you change lanes to that right side to the blind spot, just like you said, did you look? Is there a car there? You better be sure there's not a car there. Have you had your blinker on for at least 4 to 6 blinks? Are you easing over, or did you just whack that car right off the road? In this guy's case, he didn't do any of that. He turned his blinker on, came right over, blew one car off the side of the road to the right. Allegedly, and yanked the wheel and jumped the median, and there's your family. Everything about that was preventable. Everything.
Every single second item.
And I want to mention, and me and you talked about it, Dave, and you don't have to say allegedly on this piece, but him changing the lane abruptly, what started this, none of us know and will probably ever know. Was he on the cell phone? Was he distracted? Look at the violations we have and the problems we're having with that. And this guy could have easily been, if he's not well trained and the company has no backing from the company, he could have been on the cell phone when he started that.
Could have been all 3 things: eating, anything,
Yep.
Yeah, this isn't a fucking game, right? In the contract that we have you sign, when we talk about the Safety Has No Blind Spot campaign, it says, change lanes like your family is in the car next to you.
And like your life depends on it.
And that's, I know you're getting at that, Jim, but that's what we're trying to, Rick's family was. Our family was in that car right now.
Yeah. It's always somebody's family next to you. So when we get on you about following distance, when we get on you about quick lane changes, when we get on you about speeding, all those things, this is why.
Absolutely.
people's lives are at risk every single time we get out there. So,
And we're driving a guided missile. It's a missile. And it's a very deadly guided missile.
you know, we say it in the interviews sometimes, or we ask drivers, who makes a company safe? You know, sometimes the drivers will be like, well, it starts at the top. Well, we could preach it. We could have a podcast about it. Who is it? Fabio's big on, listen, we keep talking about it on podcasts, but we're not doing it. We could sing it till we turn blue in the face. Safety, safety, safety. If the drivers aren't doing it, we're not safe. The drivers are the ones that make the company safe. You know, does it get deeper than that? Yeah, it does. But at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that are out there. You guys are the ones that got to change lanes safely. You guys are the ones that can't follow too close. You guys are the ones that need to stay in your lane, right? It's your job.
Yeah.
And you are a professional commercial driver. It's a big responsibility.
And it seems redundant because every podcast we hear the same things over and over and over again.
Sometimes you got to hear it every day.
But you have to. You have to keep. And like I said, if you see something, say something. You know.
I like that.
Don't be afraid to get on that radio. I know I've caught a little flack for saying some things, but I'm not doing it to try to put people down, or I'm trying to do it to help you stay safe. You know. And I'm going to be more vocal out there. I know that. To try to help them, to try to help me, to try to help that family that might be in danger. You know.
Yep.
There's a whole lot that we can do and continue to do.
Another thing that you brought up, Rick, is I don't know if it was the state troopers that told you this, but companies are cracking open LLCs. One truck companies. Something like this happens, they obviously shut the company down. It's a limited liability company that didn't have insurance anyway. Also, nobody mentioned it, but allegedly this guy lost his license for alcohol violations. It was an alcohol suspension. And then they just go, same owner, the same one that was profiting goes and opens up another LLC. He doesn't give a shit about the driver that's in jail now. He'll just go find another one of these guys to drive that truck. His requirements are low. You don't even need to have a license. So
Yeah.
it's a shame that that's going on in the industry.
Yeah, I think for 20 minutes, 30 minutes worth of work, Jam, you can have a new company opened up. You can go through a brokerage. You can have a company, except for having your USDOT number approved. And as long as you have the application and you're ready to truck.
So you don't even need the approval. You could just go trucking if you apply.
I'm pretty sure I'd have to look back through it. We've been suspended because we've had a mistake on our insurance. When I changed our name, we changed the DBA,
right?
And our insurance wasn't on there, and they allowed us to keep trucking because it was
right.
Is a mistake,
clerical error.
Yeah, still nobody doesn't know if you're just applying for the new company. But I know you brought that up, Jim, but we just had that happen with the truck that hit the mirror.
Yeah.
We found out it was another trucking company that was already suspended from the FMCSA.
Yeah.
Did we say that last week with JR? JR Greninger, the state patrolman that we had on, in the email, Jam asked him about this. Could you check into this? And I think JR said, well, you guys don't bring me shit he had a way of word like, you bring me bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've called it an epidemic. It's happening. It's happening a lot, and the reason is cheap labor. They're trying to get things moved and do it in a way that they can just put somebody in. Hey, take $500 and pay you. Take this over there, and they do it, because they need work, and it's an epidemic, is what they called it. It's
well, Rick, there's
a very bad situation.
Here's number 3 that we know of right now. You have your incident right here, right?
Yeah.
The guy on 285, same case.
Yeah.
The guy that just hit Gerardo on the backside of Floyd Hill going to Wallstrom.
Yeah.
Right there's 3.
Yeah. That we know of, that we can just talk about.
In 30, 45 days.
Yeah, and it's happening. It's happening
everywhere.
A lot.
Everywhere. It's horrible.
It's terrible.
Something that hit me. You just was that your only sibling, Rick?
No.
Okay, so you're technically not orphaned.
No.
You lost your mother and your sister, and I guess Jim and I talking about it this weekend and stuff. He mentioned something when Jam and him were talking about it. Jam's just recently lost his stepdad, lost his brother quite some time ago. If that would have happened to him, he would be orphaned, no family left. Just snap your fingers, your family's gone. And that, I don't know why that just really hit me. No family left. Like, boof, snap your fingers and you're alone. And it's difficult to swallow, especially just all the bad things involved about it, Rick. So
it's difficult. It's very difficult.
Love your courage, love your passion. Love that you're in here trying to promote the safety of what we need to continue to do. And we need good actors like you out there on the road doing it right. And everyone that's listening needs to be doing it right. Think twice before you make that lane change. I hope you all have your bracelets on. I hope when we hire, this newer group of people that are working here, I hope you wear your bracelets. I hope you're listening to the podcast, and I truly hope you understand what a simple movement that is, that you can't be in too big of a hurry to do it.
Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast or will listen to the podcast, if this doesn't affect you, just come in and turn your keys in. Go someplace else, because it's not you're not going to make it as a driver. This is too important.
Rick, with your permission, and only because you were talking about where to find the video, if it's okay with you, I'll put it in the show notes so people don't have to look for it.
I think that's a good idea. It is what happened to me. I want to say, obviously it's happening to a lot of other people
every day.
As we speak, something's going down. Just like what happened. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I only watched it once on Jim's phone when he found it and showed it to me, but correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. The video that was captured from a vehicle behind your mom and your sister, a big truck, it looked like.
A truck, yeah.
And, looked like one of our trucks, Dave, too, with the red hood.
There's audio in that video. So I'm assuming that was his personal camera, is my guess, since there's audio, because we're not legally we can't record audio. We're not set up to.
Must have been, yeah.
I found it interesting. Did you hear what was playing?
I did.
He was listening to prayer.
Yes.
And I just hope there's a bigger power at work, Rick. I don't know if that'll comfort you or not. And I don't know enough about it. I hope that's something.
It does comfort me. I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, that's that's interesting. That's on right there. And
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and it's going to be a long process. We've got victims advocates are calling us and telling us, I have, my three sisters that are here that live in the same state and city, actually, as we do. We're going out Sunday, is our first trip out there. But there's going to be many trips to come, and I know you guys are going to be supportive, but they want us in the courtroom, They want us to give our
Got to bear witness, Rick. You got to bear.
They require or ask us if one or all of us can be there during sentencing, during the trial, because it's important that that they put out there how egregious this kind of thing is when it happens, and there's victims. There's people that have to. They have to be there, and this guy needs to know that he's affected, lives. A lot of people.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't even want to change gears. I just want to end the podcast, but we do have some other things to discuss. Rick, if you think of anything else you want to talk about, we can always circle back. We don't have to end here. But for now, we are going to change gears just a little bit and talk about what we have coming up next. We started talking about Envirotech. I think we've dropped little hints, but what is going on with Envirotech? What's all the hubbub?
I want to get pumped up, but I'm bummed out.
Right.
Hard to go from one end of the spectrum to the other, you know.
Yeah.
So, so I mean, Envirotech, they're the largest supplier to CDOT of what's called ice slicer. They have a huge yard up off 88th and I-76, and we're currently in negotiations with them to haul up to 45 loads a week out of Redmond, Utah, coming here to Denver.
Very nice.
52 days or 52 weeks a year.
Yes.
Ah, great haul.
They've offered a year contract that we're negotiating through right now, finishing up some prices, but that'll start as soon as next week if we can get the contract inked. Yep. And that is a big deal for all of us, talking about winter work and getting through things.
Here's my pen. Sign the contract.
Sign the contract, right, Jim? Yeah.
It sounds like job security to me.
And we are this close. And for those of you that can't see, my finger and thumb are touching.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, if you know, Erica, Mary, Robert, and Bernadette, if you guys are listening, we're just, you know, we want to get the contract signed. You know, we're excited about it, but you never know what'll happen until that happens. But we are very excited about it. I mean, we told them in the meeting that this is going to help our winter time. Is it work? Is it going to be difficult? Is it going to be storms? You know, it's out of town, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. Logistically, we have things to figure out, but, you know, Dave, we've talked about him before, but Senator Ray Scott, he's from Grand Junction. He stopped by a little motel that friends of ours or friends of his that he knew, Mexican restaurant in there. It's by the Love's gas station, so we have fueling taken care of. We have a place to spend the night. We have dinner there and breakfast arranged pretty much already.
Where do I sign up?
Definitely dinner. I don't know if they're open for breakfast.
Yeah, don't know about breakfast, but maybe
dinner.
Maybe a breakfast burrito left out, maybe, or something. I don't know. But
Maybe you need to buy breakfast at dinner.
Right,
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, but we're excited about it. It's something doable, and man, Envirotech, they want to turn it back to local businesses here. There, instead of, you know, having rail do a lot of the work, they want local truckers to do it, and we're one of them that they picked. And
local sourced,
yeah.
Local people.
We're excited, and you guys, can you imagine? You know, I mean, think about it. For trying to drag ourselves through the winter and the winter days. You know, 45 loads a week, all year long is what we're going to be pulling.
That's great.
You know, and when I talk about pre-trip and post-trip, you're going to be pre-tripping and post-tripping in Grand Junction or in Utah, and that needs to be done.
Right.
You know, you need to be on top of your game. When you leave here, you need to make sure that, you know, you don't have a half-ass flat tire or no belts or, you know, all of that stuff. But we're excited. This is something that we've dreamed of our whole lives. That's the reason we do snow removal at the UP. Now we get to truck some loads, you know. So guys, we want to go out and do this. And I'm sorry it's on the tail end of Rick's tragedy, but, you know, I think, Rick, I can't wait to get you back in the truck, you know, because you're going to be an advocate for us, and you're a guy that will be an advocate for Envirotech, and them listening to this show or this podcast is we're real. Life happens here, and we overcome it. You know, we face it and overcome it, and we try to do it as safe as possible. But man, this kind of stuff, this is a big deal for us, and I don't want to take Dave's thunder, but we were talking about Brandon. You know, if they open in May, you know, where are they getting all their material for all winter long?
Right.
It's going to be a combination of their trucking companies. And you know who one of their trucking companies are?
We are.
Exactly. So we're excited about this winter. Things that have, you know, Dave's meeting yesterday, the meeting with Envirotech, the you know, having great drivers and you know, a good company here that we can take these things on. It's a good week. It's exciting. Dave, did I rob too much of the brand?
I got nothing for you. You stole my thunder. No, I just can't imagine how Brandon feels, you know, this morning to wake up and go, we've worked 6 years and we got it. You know, I mean, Fred Marvel, Kurt's brother, he hugged all of us last night.
Nice.
He was so elated. It wasn't a handshake. It was a hug.
Wow.
I mean, it was, Theron hugged us, and it was just, felt so good, and they have to build a world-class facility there.
Right.
And we need to meet those demands. You know what I mean? We're going to have a reputation of our own to help them uphold their reputation.
Sure.
And man, I can't lie to you, and they admit it. Their reputation is a bit tarnished down there. They need to prove to the neighbors they can pull through and do what they've asked. So we need to be a part. We're probably going to be one of the largest parts of that because we're already hauling everything going into the concrete plant that's been there. So yeah, I mean it's just fun. I know this year, this season hasn't been anything that it's been cracked up to be. We blame it on election, which that is the fact, right? That is what it is. And even with the down year, the money that Brannon has had to have flowed out of their business in order to purchase Young Ranch and get it online, in order to continue to be prepared to build this asphalt plant that they've been working on for 6 years, has just flowed like a river. We've talked about it a little bit, maybe internally more so than publicly, but the Nix property, when Morton is closed, they'll fire up they've been building the Nix property right there next to the old Vara 66. I guess it's Raptor Materials, but Raptor Materials on 66, the Nix property will open right next to it. And I mean, the money they have been flowing out of their business, out of their doors, has to be astronomical. But they're doing it with the knowledge, the purpose, and the view that, hey, we're now prepared. Martin Marietta doesn't hold our future in their hands. We hold our future in our hands, is what they have to be saying. With the Young Ranch purchase, that's 4,000 acres up there. I mean, that's more material than any of our lifetime. Our kids and kids' kids may be hauling rock out of there. That place will be open so long. On top of Fair Play, on top of the Nix property, on top of now delivering to Sedalia. It's just a win-win-win, and it's exciting to be a part of it. It feels slow and it's hard to trust in, but the vision is there. Just look at it, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see.
Very good. The other thing Brandon has coming up is their car show, August 31st. Right now we have one person from JFW signed up, and he's bringing his motorcycle. So
nice.
If anybody else wants to get in, you do get a free car show shirt.
Yep.
So let us know what you want to bring in and what size shirt you are.
I'm pretty sure there's some food tickets in there for them as well.
And we'll feed you.
Yeah, they'll feed you.
They'll feed you. Yeah, I won't. I won't feed you.
Yeah. We do need to know in advance, though, so they can save you a spot and get you a T-shirt and all that.
Do you know when the cutoff is? Because the 31st is coming up.
I mean, I'm sure they'll have some extra shirts, right, Jan? But I mean, the sooner we know, the better.
George is going to wear a schmedium shirt, belly button showing. It'll be fine.
Love you, George.
Questions from the audience. This is from Gilly. Another week, another bulking question. Since we lost the West Plant for powder and Central has been unstable to say the least, is there anything on the books for maybe trying to work with Brandon or any other place to get something else to keep the bulkers busy? Whatever you need from us, we can do it because we are the baddest power crew.
Gilly, you guys are the baddest power crew. Rob and all you guys over there that handle all that, they just handle it. It's just done. Rob dispatches them and off they go. So, I mean, we were always on the lookout. We missed a job with up at Gross Reservoir with who's the Kiewit Western. We missed it. Gilly, we couldn't commit to it. It was too big. We needed.
Oh wow.
We needed 25 to 30 more bulk trucks and trailers to commit to it, and it just. That wasn't a 5-year contract, right? They needed them for a year and a half, while they're building things, and it wasn't all year long. It was, from March 30th to October, maybe, in between storms up there and stuff.
Sure.
We had it. It was up to us, and we just couldn't make the commitment. I mean, it was too big, too much. I mean, for us to go in and grow by 8 times,
Right.
that was too much, So there's growth and there's smart growth and stuff. So we're doing the best we can. Anytime anything comes up, we're always asking. Linda's great about pushing and all of that, and of course Jimmy. So
Yeah, very rarely do we hear you guys say no.
right.
I think the comparison there, though, too, Dave, and obviously we can hook them to end dumps and stuff like that. A couple other trucks we can't, but yardage is down this year, you guys, and that affects all of us. You just don't see it as much as in the end dump because we've tried to go do other things, and they're capable of doing other things. Like CMEX, like Envirotech, like different stuff like that helps take up the slack. You can't just go grab something else with a powder truck. But I think the year it's been a tough year. I mean,
absolutely.
We looked at the yardage today, and it was like 4,200 yards. Their top week so far, top day so far, I think was 7,500 yards.
And it was only one day.
One day, and you guys, we were knocking 10,000 yards off a day last year. And hopefully, if we work with the election or however all that does, it's a different year. They're still trying to bring down interest rates, different stuff like that. There's a lot that affect us, and I know, and it's just a sentence, but we lost the powder to the West plant, and no, we didn't. Adams County came in and closed the original West plant. Had nothing to do with us losing it or Brandon wanting to close it or anything. And they've opened up the other plant, and Coleman, because of their depth in the powder, they have a pig that they were letting Brandon use, and they're continuing to haul powder. They called us the other day and want us to haul powder, and Brandon said, "Hey, I got our pig in there. You've been using it. It's unfair, right?" And we get it. So it's not a loss. It's working with everybody. I'm sure, the Colemans, Jim and Dan, the dad and stuff, and Rich, and, they'll be hauling the plant down there, but we're all family companies that have to work together and get this done and survive. And that's the whole plan here. Colorado's in a tough place with their political views, their roads, everything. If anybody's interested, Dave sent me an amazing article about CDOT, and it's eye-opening.
Yeah.
The article. So if anybody's interested,
Shoshana Liu, the head of CDOT.
yeah, her qualifications are phenomenal to be to be true. But anyway, anybody wants to, Dave can send them the article. It's a great article. But yeah, you guys, it's tough, and we're fighting every day, Gilly. That's what we do.
How about I just add that link? I'll give that link.
Yeah, I was going to mention,
Put
send
on
it
the
up,
podcast, Jeff.
show notes.
That way, yeah, just done it. If anybody's interested.
Yep.
Safety topics of the week. I got an email from Linda here talking about Pit 23. They actually emailed her. We have trucks that are not paying attention to the new signage up there. These are going to be the yield signs. One of the signs says, watch for cross traffic from both directions. You really need to slow down here, check both ways, make sure we're not going to have an accident. Obviously their heavy equipment does have right of way up there. So
Always
has right of way.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
When in doubt, what should you do?
Stop. Yeah.
And guess what? That's yielding,
Stopping can be yielding. Yeah. Absolutely.
right? You don't understand the sign. You don't understand where they're going. Stop.
Yep.
So, yep.
Next I have down here, leave yourself an out. We had a couple accidents the other day. They were very minor. One of the accidents, our truck was in the left lane. There was another big truck in the middle lane, and then a third big truck in the right lane. Well, the truck in the middle lane wanted to make a right turn, and he actually did it like a little mini button hook from the middle lane into the left lane to make a right turn. Total butthead move. But if we left ourselves an out and didn't go 3 deep in there, we wouldn't have been in an accident. So pay attention to those things. We don't need to get in front of those other big trucks right away. A little bit of patience would have saved us some time and money. And then the other accident, I want to talk about eye lead time and stopping distance. And just to be clear, I am not blaming either one of our drivers for these accidents, right? You guys are not at fault. You weren't cited. The other companies are going to have to pay for it. However, we talk about, are the accidents avoidable? What could we have done differently to avoid that?
Preventable accident.
Preventable, avoidable. The next accident, we were actually rear-ended on I-70, shut down 2 lanes of I-70. Our truck was in the middle lane. You know, he wasn't speeding excessively, but he did have to come to a pretty, I don't even want to call it harsh, but a pretty strong stop. Well, he had another big truck behind him right up his butt.
Right.
And that guy couldn't get his shut down in time, ended up rear-ending our trailer. So what could we have done differently there? I mean, in my opinion, we probably could have been going maybe a little bit slower, a little bit more high lead time. And if you notice,
Your stopping distance. Increase your
stopping
following
distance,
yeah.
absolutely.
That guy was so close behind us, it was less than a traffic.
Well, I'm talking about us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you increase your distance, you give that guy a break and give him
Absolutely.
more.
And I did look this morning because I wanted to just see, and we had a 2-second following distance. At 2 seconds, Samsara does not go off. Under 2 seconds, it will. We should have at least 4 seconds, right?
4 to 6 seconds.
4 to 6 seconds. There you go, Rick.
My rule of thumb is whenever I'm on the highway and I'm behind somebody, I want that distance to become bigger, not shorter.
There you go.
I try to stick to that rule. Somebody else comes in, just keep backing off. You know, we'll get there eventually. You know?
What I like to do also, if you notice that somebody is up your butt, right, and don't brake check them, but if you start slowing down a little bit, they're not going to stay there very long. They're going to want to get
they'll go
around you. So good way to get rid of them. So, but that was, I looked that company up. They're a one truck company. Hopefully they do have insurance. It was, one of the little police cars, so I don't have all the information yet. But yeah, that truck had to be towed away. It was done. So yeah, we definitely got lucky on that one. No tips and tricks from Ray Davis this week. He's taking a week off as he's not feeling well, but we do have a high road hauling. Why don't you hit us with that, Soup?
Okay, I'd love to. So this high road hauling is something anybody can identify with. I say that every week, probably, hell. But this week we want to focus on your strengths and focus on success. A gentleman by the name of Kurt Leesveld, a renowned learning and development senior consultant for the Gallup organization, often explains to leaders, managers, and employees that you cannot be anything you want to be, contrary to popular culture. But he says, but you can be a whole lot more of who you already are. Conventional wisdom has alleged for many years that your weaknesses represent your greatest opportunities for development. Employees have long focused on fixing weaknesses to increase chances of success. But recent research suggests that this long-standing advice may not be the best coaching. In fact, when leaders, teams, cultures, and individuals focus on strengths, they have a better chance at winning than if they focus on improving deficiencies. This same research shows that empowering a successful culture are those that engage people and capitalize on individual capabilities. Earlier this year, CNBC published an online article by Marcus Buckingham. He believes that people should seek out activities that they get great satisfaction by doing. The things that fill them up and strengthen them, as these tend to be the things they are most effective at. He goes on to explain that when we are involved in an activity using our strengths, it feels natural to us, and we are more inclined to experience accomplishment. Folks should determine what their natural tendencies are, where their natural skills and advantages lie, and cultivate those. Learning is like new buds on an existing branch, says Buckingham. If you want to win, if you want to excel, if you want to stand out, you're going to have to take a few unique things about you that are beautiful and powerful, and then take them seriously and turn them into contributions towards your success. Buckingham also notes that things that drain our energy, though we may excel at them, tend to inhibit our learning. Brain science indicates that we shut down our capacity to learn something new from the experience because we have very low energy level to complete the exercise. So here are 4 tips that help you focus on your strengths and success no matter what you're doing. Number 1, identify your strengths, name them, and concentrate on them. Concentrating on your strengths rather than improving your weaknesses will bring a better sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. Number 2, don't compare yourself to others, but do look towards others who inspire and challenge you to grow. Number 3, talk to relatives and friends and write down what they say your strengths might be. And number 4, focus on the process, not the outcome. The end product is important, but it wouldn't exist without the journey. And we all tend to obsess over the outcome of everything. We want to get to the end product as fast as possible, and we want to skip any unnecessary means of hard work and reach our goals quickly. This is especially true when the results mean success, happiness, and money. Here's the thing, the results are useless without the process, the decisions and the thoughts we have along the way. I think that's so important. It's the journey, right? It's not the end result. It's the journey that's the most important. The quote this week is spoken by the same Marcus Buckingham that contributed to this article. He says, your strengths are not activities you're good at. They're activities that strengthen you. A strength is an activity that before you're doing it, you look forward to doing it. While you're doing it, time goes by quickly and you can concentrate. After you've done it, it seems to fulfill a need of yours. So as we go on, try to focus on your strengths to help promote your success.
I love the journey part, Dave.
Yeah, you gotta love the journey.
Yeah.
I mean, if
You have to
you won't get
understand
anything out of it, right?
Yeah, you have to understand you're in the journey.
Yeah, life is the journey, you
Right.
know, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our little projects as you go through life, but
Yeah.
focus on your journey and appreciate it, right?
Right. Yeah, sometimes you lose view of that.
Yeah, real easy.
100%.
I'm going to roll right into my final thoughts, and sitting in that county meeting last night, for Brandon's approval in that plan, I just had one word on my brain this morning because it was 8 hours during that meeting, right? And the word is controversy. And the definition of controversy is disagreement. Typically, when prolonged, it took him 6 years to get that passed. Public and heated. And I sit here and I think, God, can't we all just get along? We've got an incredible vote coming up in November, and it is so controversial. We are so far apart on this, that there's no middle ground, and I wonder what that takes. I sat there, and several of the people from Lavier's that testified that were against Brandon, they own their own businesses. They run them out of their homes down there. It was clear, and I apologize for talking politics, but it was clear they were Republicans. I felt almost a bond with them, but yet we still disagreed. And it made it more controversial to me, and I thought, how do we unite ourselves? How do we work on that? How do we make things better? How do we come to that agreement? And, there's nothing wrong with controversy. Sometimes it can open your eyes. Sometimes it's good to hear another person's passion and understand those things. So I guess I'll end with another word, and we've talked about it before, and it's paradigm. You have to look at their paradigm. You have to look at that other person's paradigm. You have to, understand what they're trying to get at, and, to be able to look at both of those words last night, I left there with a little bit of heartache, because it was approved, and then those people were pretty crushed. A lot of the things they were looking for were false, that they believe their air is going to be poisonous, and the odor, and this, that, and the other. And there were some things there that were just misinformed, right? They had a common misbelief about it. It's kind of the same misbelief people have about our trucks of today. They envision our trucks of today or the trucks of 30 years ago. And I've said to everyone, one truck from 30 years ago put out the same pollutants as 60 of ours today. So our fleet today is the size of 2 trucks. You know, and I guess there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's easy to take and run with. I would hear the group that was sitting in the row in front of me, someone would say something up there during their testimony and about Brandon, for Brandon, you know, a pro on the side of that, and they would take one word out of context and they were, you know, talking amongst themselves, and I almost wanted to tap them on the shoulder and go, hey, you misunderstood that. It's this, or it's this, you know. Just, it's easy to become controversial. I guess we all need to look at each other's paradigm and maybe try and be a little kinder along the way, and I don't know. The end I'm trying to get at, those were just 2 words that came to mind. It was a long night last night. I'm pretty tired this morning. You know, like Rick said, get a good night's sleep and stuff. So I'm just going to leave it with that. There's a lot of controversy out there.
Would compromise be a word to fit in there too?
Absolutely, Rick. You know,
the willingness to compromise, or at least discuss a compromise somehow.
And
I think that's what we need as Americans in America. We have to compromise.
Absolutely. I think sometimes it's a line in the sand, though, Rick, and there's
tough.
no way around it. And a decision had to be made last night, right? Because those people didn't want the plant. And
nobody wants to give up their opinion.
Right. So the compromise, you know, I believe the county did the right thing, and the county made the compromise. And Rick, the compromise was Brandon has met these criteria.
I'm talking as a whole.
No,
as a whole.
I totally understand.
Us, you know,
I totally understand, Rick.
We're willing to compromise.
Yeah.
I think. You know?
At least talk.
Yeah.
At least, and that's what I'm getting at. At least understand the other paradigm.
Or listen.
Right.
Talking is easy.
Absolutely.
Actually listen, like you said, they didn't understand what was actually being said.
Sure.
Maybe that's because we're not really willing to listen to the other person's point of view.
Right. We talk
That's
about
important.
Sorry.
That's important.
It is. Yeah, we talk about the Navajo stick on here, and one of the biggest things about the Navajo stick is the person with the stick has the floor, right? They're the ones that speak. But when they hand it over, you're supposed to wait 5 seconds and actually, or wait, not necessarily 5 seconds, and absorb what that person said so you can make an honest reply. You've thought of everything before you just instantly snap back and reply. And sometimes that's easier said than done. So I agree. Yeah, compromise is a great word, Rick. I love it. So that's all I got.
Jim?
Yeah, Super Dave, another, like you said, great high road hauling it. You know, everybody can get something out of it. You've probably said that for the last however many weeks.
I think I do say that every week.
Right? And I was thinking of the meetings before we started doing the podcast, and I just wrote down, or I copied 35 life lessons from an 80-year-old, and a couple of them I had highlighted. We've already touched upon today, and you know the first one for me when you're doing business or meeting people, and I have a little bit of awkwardness when I shake a woman's hand on quite how to shake it, but the first one here is have a firm handshake. You know, that was one of the first things advice from the 80-year-old, and the next one is sing in the shower. You know, and that's part of the journey. One of the other ones here was own a great stereo system. I think everybody gets such a large kick out of good music. You know, think about what music can do for your mood, and when you have a great stereo system. One I highlighted that I thought was different was keep secrets, and maybe if somebody gives you a secret, it's yours to hold, whatever that secret might be. The other one is whistle when you're happy. Avoid sarcastic remarks. And then the roses being delivered to yard 23, it says be romantic. And I think that's a definition of romantic, is having roses delivered. It's an awesome part of the journey, Super Dave. Become the most positive and enthusiastic person you know, which would be, man, to be that. I know some people that really can do that. They're amazing people. Tracy
is great at that.
Yeah, Tracy is great at that. Yeah.
Tracy is so positive
Yep.
all
Yep.
the time.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Tracy.
Yeah. I thought this one struck a chord. Don't allow the phone to interrupt important moments. It's there for our convenience, not the caller's. I was like,
I like that one, Jim.
right, Dave? It was just like, wow, it's for our convenience, not the caller's. And then the last one I highlighted here out of the 35, and I don't know if I've ever had that. I've had people tell me before, oh, that was a good hug, and I'm giving people a hug, and I'm like, if it's a hug, I don't want to give a crappy hug. I want to give a good hug, and anyway, it's when someone hugs you, let them be the first to let go. And I just thought, how often do you get a hug, and maybe you break it off, and the person just needed a hug a little bit longer. So I thought that was a good one from a lesson from 80-year-olds. And then my last one is, God bless you, Rick. So
Thank you.
Any more thoughts, Sue?
No, sir.
Rick, final thoughts?
Man, appreciate what you have and who you've got in your life, because in the drop of a second, it can be gone. And when it is, maybe you wish you did a little more. Maybe you wish you said something more. Maybe you let something go unsaid that you could have said. But just appreciate the people and your loved ones that are around you, because when you lose them, they're gone and you can't get it back.
So true.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you for coming on, Rick. As Jim said earlier, it took a lot of courage to be here today. This is a pretty fresh wound. Anything you need from the JFW family, just please ask. And for everybody listening, just remember, listen to Rick's story, watch the accident we're going to post. We're also going to post his GoFundMe in the show notes. This is a serious thing, and we all need to do a little bit better out there on the road. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the Channel 23 podcast. Hit that follow button. Also, don't forget to go back and listen to episode 72 to help find Amber's mom. Links to her story will be in today's show notes. We're going to put the CDOT article in the show notes, Rick's accident in the show notes, and also the GoFundMe in the show notes. So let's say the creed and get on out. Together we face and overcome all that stands before us.
Together we are accident free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. Together we are the JFW family.
All right, everybody.
Have a great week,
thanks.
everybody.
Everybody be safe. Thank you.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, 'cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I hear there's a couple million tons to move. I see them everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. bright, shiny red trucks just a trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a looking for another load. They just keep them doors closed, keep them butts in their seats, 'cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.